Hello and welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kelby Bachman, and please give it up for the next guest on the show, Dr. Brett Velasquez. So Brett is from Bennington, Nebraska, and was a four-time state champ for the Badgers, finishing with a career record of 171-4. Brett went on to wrestle at St. Cloud State, where he was a four-time Division II All-American. He won a national title as a freshman before finishing third and fourth twice. After graduating, Brett went to the University of Iowa, received his Doctorate of Physical Therapy, and currently works at Rock Valley Physical Therapy. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy Dr. Brett Velasquez. In the heart of West Union, Iowa, lies a hidden gem in Euphoria Coffee. Owned by local residents Nicole and Shane Havenstreit, they source everything they can from local vendors. From hot and iced drinks, to savory breakfast burritos, to baked goods, to botany tea, and even homemade waffles, Euphoria Coffee is a place your entire family can enjoy. You can find more information at drinkeuphoria.coffee2go.com or visit their Facebook page. And we also have a special gift just for you. Next time you stop in, you can get a free baked good with a $20 purchase. Just mention the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Euphoria Coffee. Our purpose is deeper than coffee. Did Nicole tell you that she reached out to me?
No, she didn't tell me that she reached out to you. She's like, I heard Matt Malcolm was on the podcast, and Matt and I coached for a little bit together at the Best Wrestler before he went up to North Dakota State. Now he's going to be back in Omaha being at Iowa Western. So I'm glad for him and his wife. That Lily and I grew up together, his wife. So we were good friends growing up, and yeah, we knew each other really well. So yeah, but she heard Matt on there, and she's started listening to the podcast a little bit more. She's always listening to podcasts at work. So she's nice. Always finding different things to pick up on. And so I had no clue, but I thought that was pretty funny. That's not like her to like reach out and say, hey, you should, so it was kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad she did.
Absolutely.
Did. You know, I was wondering like what her background was a little bit, because I didn't know if she was at St. Cloud. It sounds like she was, and she was maybe going to be a manager, but decided against it.
Yeah. No, Nicole grew up, she went to Elkhorn High in Omaha, on the west side of Omaha, and her brothers both wrestled. So she was like a mat manager for Elkhorn's high school wrestling team. And so she was around the sport her whole life. And when we started dating, I was a senior in high school, and she was a freshman in college at UNO, or at the time she was going to one of the community colleges at Metro, getting some of her gen eds knocked out. When, like she mentioned to you during the recruiting process, Steve's like, well, you're more than welcome to come up, and we can find a spot working with the team, and we can try to help you out with like a scholarship or find a way to help you in that regard. But she's like, that's a big step. We had just started dating probably, in December of that previous year. So she's like, no, I'm going to stay home. So stay at home. Then she went to UNO, finished up her degree in graphic design. So she's a graphic designer in the Omaha area. And so she did stuff for our wrestling team, though. She took photos all the time. So, photos along that side. She would make graphics for the team before regionals and nationals, just something for the guys to post on their Instagram pages and Facebook or whatnot. So she loved it. She loved just like that. She's definitely the creative link in our relationship. So she loves photography, graphics. She's got a cool job right now making catalogs for DeWalt, Milwaukee, a lot of the tool companies. Cool. And so so it works out pretty well. But yeah, she grew up around wrestling. She was a manager, and then we started talking when I was a senior in high school, and we dated for way too long. I took forever to pull the question, but I think we dated 9 years before we finally got married.
Wow.
So it was a long, I think just with schooling and just distance, it was a long haul before we finally, made a commitment to that, lifelong commitment. But it's been awesome. We've been together since 2013. So
Wow.
yeah.
12 years. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here
Yeah.
doing the math. I'm like, just come on, Kelby. Like,
Oh, I hadn't really thought about the whole time either. I mean, we've been married for 2. We got a daughter that's a year and a half now, so she's a year and a half old, Nora Jane. So
nice. Geez, yeah, Costanzo was probably like, yeah, you can come up here. And she's like, man, I don't know if I like that guy this much.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool, the Jets, man.
Exactly. But yeah. No, it's worked out really well. Distance for 5 years isn't a fun thing to do. So I know, like we were chatting earlier, like Matt and his wife, that's awesome that they're going to be able to be close again. It's just that's a hard thing to do. I can't imagine doing it, early on like that in a marriage. So I'm glad that it's working out for them to be back together. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I wondered how that was going to go, since when I talked to him, he was up there and she was back here. She was still teaching.
Yeah,
and he was up at, he was in Fargo, and I was like,
yep.
But
yeah. Yeah, when I talked to him, like she was locked in on a teaching contract, and so
right,
kind of stuck in the Omaha area. She loves her job at Omaha Westview. They've had this last year, they had a couple girls state champs. They're solid. Like they're fun to watch. Their head coach Colton Wolf, he was a stud wrestler in Nebraska. He was a dog, wrestled at Lincoln. So they got a really good thing going there. There's a lot of good programs in the Omaha area.
Yeah. And, he's from around here, Glenwood, obviously. So,
yeah.
But yeah, now he's at Iowa Western. So congrats to him.
Yeah.
But enough about Matt Malcolm.
Yeah, I know.
He already got his podcast.
That's right. That's right.
Do you, I was looking, doing my research as I should. Do you still play ping pong to this day?
We don't get to play much, but when my brother and I were growing up, we would play ping pong all the time. Yeah. Summer before I left for St. Cloud, I think we played at least 100+ games. I mean, and if anybody plays ping pong, they know if you're working, you could be putting up quite a sweat and, getting quite the grind on there. So no, my brother and I'd go at it. Like we kept each other sharp. Just a good fun way for us to stay competitive, and he'll like hearing it. But I think that summer he finally got the upper edge on me as far as like overall wins. Really? I think it was somewhere in like the mid 50s, like mid 40s. So he won most of those matchups. He was a very defensive ping pong player. So, and he'd frustrate guys. And so it was fun.
Why ping pong? How did that even become a thing for you?
Oh,
and your family?
I don't know. We just had we had neighbors that had a ping pong table next door, and they mentioned how much they loved it. So we were asking for ping pong table over Christmas or something, and ended up getting one in the basement. Easy way for us to do something indoors during the winter outside of wrestling, and otherwise we were outside all the time playing baseball, football, you name it. Just kind of the whole gamut of sports as a kid. But yeah, ping pong. Probably got a table middle school, early high school, and it was just a fun way with friends over to hang out and do something different. So
yeah. Do you have one now?
We don't have one at our house. My parents, since then they put a pool table in the basement. Dad's a big pool shark. He loves getting on the pool table. He whoops me. I don't know. I got to work on it. Got to work on my pool game. But we go over there, we'll play with him. So we can throw a pool table on the top of it, but most of the time now it's just playing some pool when we get home, visiting with mom and dad. Both they're still in Bennington, so and we're not too far away. My wife and I live in Elkhorn, like Elkhorn North School District. So we're right between both of our parents. Her parents still live in Elkhorn. So yeah, we're kind of halfway in between both parents. It works out really well for watching our daughter and just having being close to both sides of the family.
Yeah. Any plans to get a ping pong table?
We'll probably need to down the road. I gotta teach Nora the ropes. So
where's your brother at? Is he still in the area? So
yeah,
you could
I could call him up.
Get back.
That's right. Yeah, Josh, he's on the east side of Bennington. So
okay,
he's out there with a couple buddies, and he's doing really well for himself as far as he's doing some like irrigation and sewer line laying, and so he's got a good gig going for himself. He's coaching at Bennington High School. He's one of the assistant coaches at Bennington still. So he
Nice.
hasn't left the sport. He loves it. He loves the coaching aspect of it. They've had some tremendous seasons the last few years when he's been coaching, so that's been fun to watch and just support from afar.
What about you? Are you
Yeah.
you wrestle? You put
Yeah,
the
I'm
shoes
still
on? Are
wrestling.
you are
Yeah,
you
I'm still wrestling. I'm
coaching anywhere? Going
yeah,
to like what's
yeah.
what's up?
Yeah, so I'm coaching at the Best Wrestler
Still
and
are okay.
yep, still coaching at the Best Wrestler. So been with the guys for about a year and a half. When we moved back from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, we lived in Marion. We were working out there, my wife and we moved back to Omaha, just start our family and be close to our parents.
For sure.
Reached out to a bunch of the coaches in the area asking if there was any interest for me to help coach on their teams and just within their rooms. And Georgie got a hold of me right away, and we sat down, had some coffee, chatted a little bit, and it was a good fit. Those guys are awesome. They love their team. They love the kids. They love the boys and girls, and they just want to continue to see these kids be the best that they can possibly be in life. It's cliche with they're the best wrestler
Yeah.
title, but they really do. They want to see their kids be the best, not only in wrestling, but they want to make sure they're set up well for careers down the road and make sure that they're set up well for just life in general. So they got a lot of routes and a lot of good support to help them. I know there's like a wrestlers in business group in the
Yeah.
area, and so I know they're plugged in really well with that. And they just want to make sure that all the boys and girls that go through their club are set up beyond just wrestling. As much as we want to see the kids win and do well, we want to make sure that they're set up really well for what's the next step in life.
Yeah. And you're a really good example of that. I mean, you were valedictorian of your class. Um, you went to St. Cloud, you what
Yep.
biomedical science
Yep.
major. I mean, went to PT school at Iowa, like you were very successful in the classroom. Was that something that came easy to you, or did you have to work at it to get the grades and academic wise? Because you also got the postgraduate scholarship, which I want to talk about at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah, was
No,
school hard for you?
I wouldn't say it was hard, but I also wouldn't say like I was just like this insanely academically gifted individual that had this, picture perfect memory and a photographic memory. Like I was
Yeah.
very blessed with good genetics from my parents. My mother's a nurse, did very well in college, and she's still working as a nurse in Blair at their hospital. My dad, he works alongside the radiologist. He has a fancy title of nuclear medicine technician. But
Ooh.
so he gets to inject a lot of dyes and help the radiologist see a lot of cool things as far as how the body's responding to certain medications. So both parents were in the medical field. They just set a really good example for my brother and I as far as work ethics, study habits, and just I think just instilling the mindset of whatever we're going to do in life and whatever we're doing, giving it our best effort and applying our all to whatever we're trying to accomplish. And so when it came to school, the goal wasn't just to coast. It was to just like within wrestling, trying to do our best, trying to dominate. Didn't always work out that way. You're going to fail tests here and there. You're going to have a tough go, but
What?
but
Did you
that
fail a test?
oh yeah, a couple times. Like
Whoa,
first semester,
seriously?
like first semester in undergrad, there was this biology class. I think everybody in the class failed like one of the first two tests, and people were freaking out, emailing the professor like, "I came from straight A's in high school. I've never
Yeah.
failed a test in my life." They're freaking out at him. It's like, and he curbed the class. He just said, like, don't worry about it. You'll get better. PT school, there's like, I think I failed one neuroanatomy exam, and then just had to put my nose to the grindstone and figure out a way to get back on top of that grade. And the professor was
Wow.
awesome. He was probably one of the cooler professors that I've had throughout just my whole education. And he worked with me, getting in his office and making sure we could get the grade we needed to stay on top of things and keep the course. But no, I think it just comes down to I studied hard. I I made sure I spent time studying during undergrad at St. Cloud. I picked up a tutoring role just to help make sure I was able to set aside time to focus on studying. I would tutor kids maybe 1 to 2 hours a week, but then I'd be it was called the Richard R. Greenhouse, and that's where all the student athletes would go to study. And so I would work there. I'd get like a work study for it. I basically get paid to study and just stay on track with my academics, and then in the afternoon get to the wrestling facility and put in work in the wrestling room. So no, I think it came to working hard in the classroom and just having goals that I wanted to accomplish. And as I got it, once PT school hit, it wasn't so much PT school hit. It wasn't so much more about like being a perfectionist, getting straight A's, because that was a big driving force for me. It's just, wanting to wanting to do the best and not fail, and trying to do like, trying to be the best in the class, trying to be the best on the mat. And PT school came around and you realize you got to really retain a lot of this material and actually be able to apply it to your patients. And so it's more about really learning and absorbing the information. I think a lot of times in high school and college even, it's easy to learn for the test and then just kind of throw that in the backside. So yeah, once PT school came around, the mindset shifted a little bit, but it was more I have to like look to get straight A's, and that was kind of like the mindset going through high school and college.
Yeah, you probably had more time on your hands when you were in PT school because you didn't have wrestling. So was
It
was
was
it kind of
tricky.
easier then?
I wish I could say it was easier. I mean, like
Wow.
PT school, you're in the classroom for about 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. most
Yeah.
days. It's the University of Iowa's got a great program there, but it's more condensed than most PT programs. Most schools you're in and out in about 3 years. University of Iowa is a 2.5 year more accelerated program.
Wow.
And they try to do that more from a financial incentive for the
Okay.
students so that they're able to get into the working field 6 months earlier than they would if they would go the 3 year plan.
Yeah.
And so it was condensed, it was aggressive. I thought about the transition to Iowa. I'm like we're real close to Carver. Growing up a Husker fan, I wasn't trying to become a Hawkeye, but
Yes,
I
I
thought
was gonna
about
ask about that.
maybe maybe trying to get in the room. Never happened. Just I didn't have the connections, and I that's an excuse. But I just didn't reach out, and I didn't think I'd have the time commitment with PT school.
For sure.
Later on, I think in like the second year, I was missing wrestling a lot. I got into jujitsu out there. They have a really cool jujitsu club out in the Iowa City area, Citadel Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
Matt Layton, Jim Kelly, like those
Jim
guys are
Kelly,
awesome.
yes.
Yeah, those guys are studs. They were a lot of fun to work with. So rolled with them for about a year and a half, helped with their youth jiu-jitsu classes. So that kind of helped me fill my
Nice.
my downtime. And so that filled that itch quite a bit, competed a little bit. And so haven't got back to it in Omaha, just with work and helping out coaching now. It's just not been something I've pursued, and making sure I have plenty of time to spend with my wife and our daughter right now. So it's been
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, when you told your family that you were going to Iowa, what did they were they like,
Uh,
"Ah, no, like
Yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal PT school. I mean, right now I think they're ranked second in the country with PT programs, and that was a big part of it for me. Just wanting to be around the best people and the best programs. Um, I mean, I think that's just kind of a trend for my high school, college, and professional life. And no, I told them about it, and they understood from the academic standpoint. But when we went to a couple duels with in Carver, they're like, we will not be throwing any yellow on, and we're definitely. Although at the time Nebraska just wasn't quite on Iowa's level in those early 2020, 2021 season,
yeah,
that time frame. But man, they've stepped it up and they've been fun to watch. But yeah, they weren't too excited about supporting the Hawkeyes. And I'm not gonna lie, like I can act like I like dislike them, but like after being in Iowa, I'll cheer on the Hawks as long as they're not going up against Nebraska. Like I have no problem. I got to support the alma mater now that I paid them so much money and I'm still paying them plenty of my money. So, but yeah, Carver was probably one of the coolest wrestling environments I've ever been in. That was phenomenal. We were fortunate enough when I was a student, I got to watch, I think it was that 2019 or 2020 Penn State Iowa duel. Kemmer took down Mark Hall, and
mhm,
that place was deafening.
insane.
It was
Yeah.
insane. Like, and that was the last time that Penn State lost a duel in the Big Ten. It
Hmm.
was it was pretty electric. Like, there's Lincoln, the Devaney Center gets rocking. It's fun to watch. I'm excited to watch. Hopefully our Bennington boy, Cale Luridson's getting some mat time
Hmm.
this year, and he's gonna make some waves at the D1 level, and really help those Huskers for a chance at a D1 title this year. But Yeah, we'll see. Devaney gets rocking, but Carver, those Iowa fans they're special. They love wrestling. They get it. They get it.
Yeah.
Nebraska's got a little bit of ways to go before they get on Iowa's level as far as their love and respect for the sport, but it was cool.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I'm from Iowa, so I did the reverse Brett Velasquez. So I'm
Yeah.
from Iowa and I graduated from Nebraska,
Okay.
Lincoln.
Yeah.
So yeah, like my parents and my uncle would always give me crap about, I'm a Husker, I'm a Husker. And at first, yeah, there was a lot of pushback. I'm like, no, no, no. But then as I did the podcast and I started
Hmm.
talking and meeting some of the Husker wrestlers, I'm like, I wanted to not like you guys,
For
but
sure.
I can't help
Exactly.
it, And so now, yes, I find myself rooting for him. And when like Christian Lance broke through and became an All-American, like I
Yeah.
probably was happier for him and like
Yeah.
Eric Schultz than I was for any Iowa guy.
For sure.
So, um, so yeah, I feel you on that. And same thing with like going to the Devaney Center. Like it's fun, it gets rocking. Um, but yeah, there's levels that they got to jump a little bit here.
Certainly.
And
Certainly.
hopefully, like my thing is, I'm going on a little tangent here. This is the window. They have a window here. They just got
Yeah.
second, Ridge
Absolutely.
Lovett, Hardy, Antrell Taylor, Ridge Lovett
Yeah.
graduated, but Taylor's
Yeah.
back, Hardy's back. Like they have this window here where they could really capitalize and be
For
something
sure.
great. So hopefully it happens, but
Yeah.
yeah,
They got, there's some elite dynasties going on right now in D1
right.
wrestling. So, yeah, to take down Penn State, it's going to be tough. Oklahoma
Mhm.
State, that duel is going to be electric. I think that's like December 21st or something in Lincoln, where Nebraska wrestles Okie State at
Yeah.
home. That'll be sweet. That there's going to be some really, really awesome matches. And I tell you, like the Devaney, they need to be. I don't know. It's pretty affordable to get down to Lincoln and watch a duel right
Yes.
now. It's like
Yes.
it's unreal. Like you go to buy volleyball tickets, it's 200 some bucks in a Big Ten matchup, and then right now wrestling, it's which is fine. We got to grow the sport. We got to keep promoting it and make it try to help it become a revenue generating sport across the country. But yeah, it's affordable. Families can go pretty easily. We went to a couple duels
Mhm.
last year, took our daughter, so it was a lot of fun to go support in Lincoln. But that duel, hopefully Nebraska shows out and brings a lot of energy to a tough Oklahoma State team coming to Lincoln.
Yeah. And the other thing I like about Nebraska is um how how much you can talk to the athletes. Like
Yeah,
when the duel's done, you go down on the floor, you can get pictures,
yeah,
autographs, you get to meet the athletes are so approachable. They're right there. Like you
absolutely,
don't you know, that's the one thing about Iowa. Like duel's over, they're gone. And that's
absolutely.
fine, whatever. That's okay. But Nebraska, I mean, it's
No, yeah, they're down
cool.
there. Yeah, the alumni are coming down. They're taking photos with the guys. They're chatting it up. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
staying for obviously if you have a rough night, the last thing you want to do is be standing out there talking to. But a lot of guys are talking to family, friends that are coming in
Mhm.
to see them. So yeah, I agree. Just being able to be real personable, and I think a lot of that comes down to their coaching staff too. You hear a lot
Yeah.
of these guys talking about Manning and Snyder and Delcha or and Delagna, Tervel, and they're doing great things in Lincoln. They're good people.
They
Um,
are.
they're
They
they're
are.
raising really good men down there, and I think it's exciting thing for our state. And just with it being the only D1 program in our state, it's really cool to see them. Like when it comes to wrestling, it's really cool to see them doing as well as they are, and just have such good guys coming out of the room.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of dynasties, you were a part of a dynasty, and kind of like St. Cloud State still is
Yeah,
hovering around that dynasty, mantra
yeah,
there. UNK got him this year, but like you won 3 titles in 4 years,
yeah.
at St. Cloud State. Did you know when you got there, like, hey, we could be pretty special, or did you not realize it till after the fact, till it already happened, where you're like, dang, we did something special. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the results prior to me committing to St. Cloud, I think they had placed second 4 or 5 years in a row, and then
Yeah.
the year that I got recruited, or the year prior to me getting recruited, they took sixth. They had a really rough national tournament. A couple guys that were capable of qualifying didn't make the national tournament. What would that have been in the 2014 national tournament? So had a down year, but like Coach Costanzo, he'd been having a track record of success. at Dana College. He had won a national title in '06. And so like he's, historically been able to transform programs that have been struggling and doing, and he'd been doing that for a long time. And the coaching tree that he comes from is phenomenal. But yeah, you saw the success, you saw what he was capable of. He was a Bennington Badger, state champ in 1990. So, there's good bloodlines there, and just having his coach, Coach Alan Picorni, coach him up from high school. And so, no, you see the level of success that Coach Costanzo in the group were able to achieve prior to me getting there. And so you're like, but it does light a fire, like this fuel to the fire. Like we want to be that first group of people to eclipse that, that hurdle. They'd come really close. I think they lost by like half a point or a point. And I think the season prior to that, like they had a few really close calls. And so, yeah, that 2015 team was really special. Getting to wrestle with Tim Prescott every day in the room. Nobody wanted to wrestle with him. He's a stud. Like he's tough. He's a grinder, and guys would get frustrated wrestling with him. As a redshirt freshman, I'm like, I'm only going to get better wrestling this guy. He's a phenomenal competitor, phenomenal man of God, phenomenal father and dad, and just he pushes you in the room. Like he makes you work hard. He'd get under guys' skins a little bit. He had a little chip on his shoulder, which is good. You got to have that if you're going to be the best. And that year is fun to watch him go on to, compete, battle, and win himself a national title at 25. And so he was kind of the catalyst for that 2015 season. As far as some of those guys, obviously had some really, really good leadership on that team that same year. But he was the top placer, but just had a phenomenal season. And they were I was actually at a UNO hockey game at spring break. It was the only spring break I was hopefully going to get for the rest of my college career. So went home and spent time with family. Kind of wish I was out in St. Louis to celebrate the national title with the boys, but and just be there for them. But we were at a UNO hockey game. We got the message that they had sealed the title up after Tim's match. We were watching it on my cell phone as we were watching St. Cloud and play hockey in the arena in front. Yeah, so they were. Yeah, we went back. We're like, oh, we'll go watch St. Cloud. I don't remember who won the hockey game, but I know it was pretty cool to watch the boys bring home a title, and then that just that gave us the confidence to continue to build on that success and the previous success that the coaches had already laid out for us. And so that was really the catalyst that got everything going. And then once things get going and you got guys in the room like that, and you have so much depth at every weight, it really helps establish a phenomenal dynasty. I think in 2016, when I was able to take it home at 125, we could have went 1, 2, 3 at nationals. And I wholeheartedly believe that. I mean, we had Tim Prescott, returning national champ, myself, redshirt freshman, and then Tanner Johnshoy the year prior to Tim starting there. He was, I think he was a redshirt freshman or a true freshman, but Johnshoy was a phenomenal wrestler. He was a national qualifier his first year, stepped up. He was one match short of All-Americaning. It's like a freshman or sophomore. And then, so coach had those two go wrestle at a tournament in I think it was the Cobber Open or something in Minnesota, and he's basically telling them, like, this is your wrestle off. And he's like, Brett, you can go to North Dakota and you can wrestle the University of Mary and University of Minot duels. We'll give these two a little bit of a break of that travel. And then Tim beat out Johnshoy in that tournament wrestle off. And then I was gifted an opportunity to compete for a wrestle off against Tim in the before regionals, and it's a pretty cool story. It's good stuff.
Wow, yeah. Pretty cool story for you, probably not for Tim.
Yeah. No, it's
Gosh,
I think
tough,
Tim's
man.
It's got to be super tough. I mean,
for both of you, like I bet it was even tough for you at the time, a little bit, I'm sure. I mean,
it was really tough. And I think, everything lined up, in my favor that season. Beginning of the year, I think that was redshirt freshman year. I think I had either a meniscus injury or like a back injury. I had a couple early on, usually preseason. Just unfortunately when I got injured a few times, and it kept me from the wrestle-offs, the formal wrestle-offs. So I never got to wrestle off Tim in the wrestle-off situation. We had a tournament at the Midland Open in Omaha at Midlands College, and Tim and I are in the same bracket, and coach said, Tim was dealing with a couple injuries of his own, and he's like, Brett, I'm just gonna let you get a couple more matches here. And so we didn't wrestle each other at the Midlands Open in a tournament. And like I mentioned, they went off to wrestle at the Cobber Open or whichever open it was that they got there, wrestle off between Prescott and John Choi. And then at that time, my only 2 losses that season were to 2 Division I opponents. And so every Division II opponent that I had wrestled against, I had beat. And coach is like, I don't know, this is a redshirt freshman coming in against returning national champ senior. Do I even give this kid a wrestle off? Because Coach Costanzo's, you get your wrestle off at the beginning of the year. There's no wrestle offs during the middle of the year. It's just wrestling tournaments. That's the way to really earn your spot and earn time in a duel. And Coach does a great job of getting guys in different duels, but you have to win those head-to-head matchups or have common opponents. And we didn't really have any common opponents for him to say, well, Tim beat this guy, Brett didn't. So he's like, all right, Brett. He called me in. I guess he talked to Tim previously. He said, listen, I think it's only fair that you have to beat Tim 2 times in a row in the room. If he beats you once, that's it. If you beat him twice in a row, then it's your spot. And so I'm like, and I think being kind of naive and kind of lacking a lot of confidence at that time, and really believing in myself, I said, that's fair. I wasn't gonna argue it. I wasn't gonna, he earned. He's the champ. He earned it. That's fair. And leading up to the wrestle offs in the room, Tim was getting his licks in on me. Like he was beating on me a little bit. He was confident. He was getting ready. End of the year, regionals were wrapping up or coming up, and he's getting ready to go defend his title. We get to the wrestle offs. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 wrestle offs in the room, and you got all the guys. They'll come into the room. They'll hire a ref to come in. I remember his some friends were up watching in the balcony. People are just watching, seeing what was going to happen in the wrestle offs. First match, I don't know. I think previously the week prior to that, I never throw guys. I'm not a thrower. I'm not looking for it, but we drilled like headlock defense and headlocks. And Tim came up high on a shot, whipped a lefty headlock on him, pinned him in the room, and and so first match over within the first period. I never would have imagined it being that quick. Like, would never imagine that have been the result. I know, like, throughout the season, Coach Brady Wilson was always kind of in my ear, like, you're the champ. Like not against him, but he's just like trying to instill confidence in me. And somebody's like, in my mind, it was going to come down to like a 3-2, really close, like 1 takedown match. Match 2 comes around, and no takedown first period, a lot of scrambles, a lot of wrestling on the edge. I've heard, I've listened to Tim talk about it sometimes too, just to gain his perspective on the match, because I have a lot of respect for him and what he's done in the sport. And, I was able to take a couple like half shots and shots to keep me on my feet, because he was a dog on his feet, just real tough. It's hard for me to get to his legs. We go 0-0, top bottom. We both get an escape, go to overtime after a couple really close scrambles on our feet. Overtime, no takedown, some good, like a lot of good scrambling. He's in on the leg, finding a way just to keep my hips on top and stay squared. We go overtime. I believe he went, I'm trying to get this right. I think he went bottom. I was able to ride him out on bottom for the 30-30. And then the next 30-30 at the time, I went bottom. I got a reversal with like 10 seconds left in the match. Cut him with like 3 or 4 so I didn't give up something ridiculous. And like you said, it was really hard. I remember there was no celebrating. You could hear a pin drop in the room. Senior national champ just gets beat by redshirt freshman that hasn't even started in any big duels this year. We had national duels early in the year, but I don't know. At the time, like I said, lacked a little confidence. Coach Wilson can attest to this. Like, they asked me how Tim was feeling before the national duels finals matches against Notre Dame. I'm like, he's feeling really good, coach. Like, he's good to go. Instead of being like, ask him, like, I'm ready to go if you need me. I wasn't ready mentally to step up to the plate to compete against the top national guys at that time. I won my matches prior to that, but like mentally, I don't think I was quite ready to go there. It took, actually seeing that I could compete with like Tim and the top guys in the country and, dethrone a national champ to feel confident enough in myself to really build that momentum and go for it. But I remember, being in the room, kind of going off to the side, like I almost like tearing up, crying a little bit. It was hard. I went
Right.
home crying, like called my parents, called my wife, girlfriend at the time, and I'm just like, this is what happened. I won it. Did I deserve it? Like, is this fair to him? Like it's not like NAI, we'd probably both be representing the school
Right.
at the same time. Top 3 guys in the nation in my mind, we could have, and 2 of us had to sit out. So it was really hard, like being as close knit of a team as we were, not to be able to see him. But, all the credit to Tim. After that, he was in my corner at regionals. You know, they tried to let him wrestle off at 133 and it just didn't work out. He got beat out in that match. I think it was against Jared Oftedal, who went on to be an All-American that year, took 4th, I believe. And he, he stepped up, he got in my corner, and he was there each and every match for me at the national tournament, just instilling confidence, instilling, trust that I could get it done. And really cool photo, really cool moment after that national championship match. Coach Costanzo took both of our arms, raised them up to the crowd, just really
Nice.
special. It was really neat being able to share that moment with both of them and seeing him be just the godly man and just a phenomenal leader. And it showed. Now he's coaching across the country at different levels. I think he's at Central Methodist now, coaching their women's program. So yeah, he's doing awesome, and he's doing big things for the sport still.
Wow. What a wild story.
Yeah.
And what a bittersweet story. I
It
mean,
is.
seriously,
It's
like I'm
super
sitting
tough.
here listening to this and like you want to be happy. Like, I want to be happy
Yeah.
for you. Like, man, that's awesome. Redshirt freshman, you come in, like you solidify your spot,
Yep.
but it's at the expense of your teammate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like you don't know whether to cheer, whether to be happy or whether to cry after you win. Like obviously you worked for it, like you did put in the work to be the guy. It's just that's why wrestling is tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. And like Coach Costanzo beat himself up. Did he make the right decision going into regionals? I guess, he called Dan Gable, I guess, and had a conversation with him. I don't know. Guy's got contacts or something, but he talked to Dan Gable or got a hold of him and he said, like, it's wrestling. Like, let him wrestle it off. Let him earn the spot. And so he didn't know if he was making the right decision. I'm just glad on my end that I was able to capitalize. And the one year that I got it done, it was that year when I, took the spot away from a good team and a good friend of mine. So I'm glad it worked out that way that year. And unfortunately, just wasn't quite able to get back on top later on in my career.
Yeah, what was that? I mean, when you going into, so now you got the spot. I mean, now it's like the mindset shifts. Were you thinking national title at that point, or were you just, the whole one match at a time, just try to get the best thing I can, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thought of taking down the returning, like your teammates are returning national champion, and having that in the back of your mind, knowing that you're capable of competing and wrestling with the best of the best in the country. The goal was to win a national title at that time. I didn't think I'd be in that position that quick. Not that I didn't have full confidence in my abilities, but just knowing how good Tim was and how practice usually went and how our matches usually went in the room, I knew it was going to be difficult to even get the starting spot. And so at nationals, I think just going one match at a time was the motto, and you hear that a lot of times from everybody. But focusing, one guy at a time. Going into the finals, I probably was more relaxed than I'd ever been going into any of my previous.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I don't know, like high school, going for my 4th state title. I was I was freaking out. I was super nervous. I don't know. I think at that time I was just so worried about accomplishing this goal and what would happen if I didn't. It was more about like if I didn't accomplish this and if I didn't see the success, I was this close to this amazing opportunity to be a 4-time state champ and I just get in my head and like what happens. I'm going up against this, really good wrestler that I've wrestled a few times and done well against, but what if he gets me this time? It just not the right mindset. In high school, didn't in college, we did a lot of mindset training with like mindset wrestling mindset, and we really learned how to view the sport from a different lens and from more of like an attack style mindset and just going out and getting what's yours. And high school is more, I don't know. I just got really nervous. I saw a good buddy from my elementary days and Grand Island days that he was undefeated on the season. He got pinned in the state finals 2-3 matches before I was supposed to go out there and wrestle for my fourth state title. So it's like, well, shoot, if Chase Reese is getting and beating this match, and like anything could happen. This guy was dominating guys all year. So in my head, and then once the whistle blew, it was probably my, I don't know, most well wrestled high school finals match of the four. I went back and watched those a few years ago, and just there was just a lot like like finally like something I was happy to see on the mat for myself in those high school years. Just like it was good wrestling. It was aggressive. I was open up and scoring lots of points, and I was able to pin my way through the state tournament that senior year and capitalize on a really fun career in Bennington. So that was, but yeah, I don't know. I was really relaxed going into that national finals match.
Wow.
And I think that's, sometimes those nerves can really wear you down.
Yes.
Your body, all that cortisol in your body really, really gets you heavy and gets those legs heavy. And so if you can find a way to stay relaxed and stay composed in those big battles, it's really helpful and just in wrestling your best. Like if you're able to find a way to stay relaxed and composed beforehand and then amp yourself up however you need to, that's really, really the name of the game there.
Yeah, this is just, I'm just like thinking about this and how wild it is. Not wild, it's not wild. But what I mean is, so you were, it's a whirlwind. So
Yeah.
you are sitting here thinking like, gosh, okay, how am I going to get the spot? I'm not going to get the spot. And then you go out there and you earn the spot. And
Yep.
now all of a sudden, boom, your mindset has to shift from I'm the guy to, well, now I got nationals here in a couple
Yeah.
weeks, or I got regionals. I got to get to nationals. I got to,
Yep.
like there's so much, you like your expectations changed on a dime
Yeah.
of what the
Absolutely.
season was like. I
Yeah,
mean,
my
I'm just
season was
trying to,
almost done. Like wrestle
exactly.
offs, like it would have been just getting Tim geared up for nationals like I did the year previously. And just making sure he was sharp and obviously the goal is to be able to be the guy and
Yeah.
put in a lot of hard work and a lot of extra training sessions throughout the year and a lot of extra workouts, but it's still you got to beat the guy, the returning national champ. And so it was a whirlwind of emotions and just I think most parties involved were very, very satisfied with the end result.
Yeah,
Like you said, it's
I'd say.
bittersweet. It's bittersweet with but Tim and I are still good friends and have a good relationship. And, I've always been a huge fan of what he's doing. So nothing but respect for him and what he's
Yeah.
got going on.
And I know it's cliche. Like I always roll my eyes about, when you get the answer of one match at a time, but truly you have to go one match at
Yeah,
a time.
absolutely. I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the reality. You got to go one match at a time. You start overlooking guys, especially, you know, redshirt fresh, like never being at the tournament, like never being in those lights before. The last thing you need to be doing is trying to think, well, if I get here, I'm an All-American. If I like just
yeah.
win one match at a time, get there, put yourself in position to compete to get into that match, and then the good things happen. But yeah, like you said, it's cliche, but it's true. Like if you overlook guys, if you try to focus too far in advance, it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, and it worked out for you that year. What I mean,
Yeah.
how was it that year to win a national title not now that we know, like now that I know and the people listening know the full scope of the story of your redshirt freshman,
Yeah.
you're like, man, what was that like to come out on top? I
I think
mean,
I said it like in interviews. One of our audio guys, John Peterson, he did all our color commentating for us in St. Cloud.
nice.
I was fortunate enough to have him mat side after the match, doing all the, in arena interviews with the wrestlers. So that was really cool. Just kind of full circle chatting with him. But I think I told him like it's surreal. It's something you dream about from a young age of, winning an NCAA title. And obviously, probably when you're really young, you're thinking that D1 title and the highest and highest levels, highest of highs there. But I mean, Division II wrestling's solid. Those guys are tough. And,
Ridiculous.
getting in the room, working that hard all year long and finally being able to be one of the 10 guys that gets to have their hand raised and probably truly be satisfied with how the season went. It was super special. I don't spend a lot of time. Probably not enough time reflecting on how blessed I was to be able to say that I'm a national champion. Because as soon as that season was over, you hear a lot of guys saying like it's time to go get the next one or go pursue the next one. And I think I just eat at myself a little bit for never quite being able to get back on top of the podium there. And so that part's bittersweet for me. It sounds, a little bit like I'm a little bit ungrateful for just what that 2016 season entailed and the opportunity there. But it just, you obviously want to repeat and show that you're capable of having that kind of level of success, and not that the other years weren't good seasons and helpful and building that dynasty and continuing that legacy in St. Cloud. But it's tough. Like, everybody has individual goals, and most of the time, there's only 10 people truly that probably reach those individual goals each and every year at the division, like in those divisions. And it was awesome to be able to do it in 2016 and to be able to celebrate with all the guys. I think that was probably one of the coolest things, just some of the senior leaders and the rest of the team celebrating the win, jumping in their arms afterwards. It was really cool. But yeah, I think it's definitely important to reflect and be blessed and on some of those opportunities, because you're never guaranteed anything in the sport. You can get injured, it can get taken away, and so definitely need to be appreciative when you do get those moments to just be grateful for doing something that a lot of people just can't say they were able to do.
Yeah, like the guys that come to mind, Nathan Tomasello won it as a freshman, didn't win it again.
Yep.
Dustin Schlater, Minnesota, won it as a freshman. I don't believe he won it again. Nick Novak won it and didn't win it this year.
So
yeah.
And I don't think St. Cloud, Nick's going to be the dude to break the streak, but we had multiple guys win a national title, and we just haven't had any repeat national champs. Even Cameron Teacher, when he transferred, wasn't able to get done his next year. So somebody's got to get over that hump to, once somebody gets it done, the next person's going to be able to fall in their suit. You just get that kind of that monkey off your back. I think of Husker football, we got this, like, losing all these close football games. Once we get that monkey off our back, Husker football is going to be just fine. Same thing, I think, I don't think a lot of people think about that, but yeah, Nick's going to be the guy to get that done, win that second national title in a row, in the room, and be able to get his name back up on that wall and have his banner hung with two years underneath it, which is going to be awesome to see. But yeah, we just weren't able to get that done. And but no, there's guys like that. I remember Nathan Tomasello, we were the same like school frame, and so watching him win it in 16, third, and then I went third, fourth. I felt like I was the Division II replica there as far as results. I mean, it's just, we were following a very similar, and I'm not comparing myself to him. He's an animal, but
you're an animal.
I hear you.
I guess my point was, like, it's so difficult. Like,
in
high school, the expectation is you win it as a freshman. The expectation is you'll win 4 or at least 3, but in college it is so incredibly difficult. The kids graduate, and then there's just a new crop of kids that come in, and you're like, holy cow, where did these kids come from? So it's just yeah.
In hindsight's 2020. You look at the guys you lose to or something. At the time, my last college wrestling match, I wrestled Colea. I'm frustrated. I lose to this young upcoming stud. Guy goes on to win, I think, two national titles, maybe 3. Like, he was a phenomenal wrestler, and we had a battle for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
Year prior, lose to Notre Dame, national champ. It's like there's just some deep competition at those weights. And it's really hard to stay on top and to and just keep that level of success.
Yeah. I mean, the more I do this, the more I talk to people, the more it's like, as much as it is, um, you know, your talent and work ethic and putting in the time, there are times where sometimes it just boils down to a little bit of luck and
Yep.
your health. I
Yep.
mean, things just have to fall into place sometimes. I'm not saying every time, there are
Yep.
obviously people who can overcome those things, but, sometimes it just doesn't happen for whatever reason,
For sure.
you know, and it's a bummer. But I mean, at least you can hang your hat on, like,
Yeah.
you went first, third, fourth, fourth. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, like hindsight's 2020. It's good to reflect and be grateful for, those things. A lot of people can't say that. And as far as, in our sport, being able to market yourself and be able to say that you're national champ, it's really helpful in just, growing your brand and being able to serve the wrestling community and get in with different rooms and be able to do camps and things like that. So, and it's just something to, be proud of because it's a tough sport and being able to accomplish those goals and be able to achieve these hard things, when you go to tell your kids about it it's not about the wins, but just all the hard work that goes into that and the discipline and the effort that you put towards something that's not guaranteed after you lose those big matches. Like these guys that you're competing against, they're putting just as much hard work as you are.
exactly. Yep.
It's like at the end of the day, you have to tip your cap to them too for their efforts and being able to step on the line. So no, it's definitely been something that we were blessed to be able to accomplish and carry forward and the rest of our life.
Yeah, and the other thing you can, you know, tell your kids about and kids that you're coaching and stuff is, one, you're four-time All-American. Not many
Hmm.
people like that.
Yeah.
That is tough in and of itself.
Yep.
Um, Four times you placed in the top four.
Yep.
Your junior year, you got beat in the quarters and fought your
Yeah.
way back. You won three straight matches, which is
Yep.
tough. Again, national tournament we're
Yep.
talking about. Get fourth.
Yep.
Your senior year, you get beat in the semis. I'm sorry, I'm bringing up all
Yep.
the
You're
sucky
good.
stuff.
It's not like I haven't thought about them before, so it's all good. It's all good.
Your senior year, you get beat in the semifinals to the
Yeah.
same guy who beat you again in your
Yep.
junior year. And
Yep.
what happens? You win on the backside, and yes,
Yeah.
you come out in fourth. I mean, there's a lot of adversity that you overcame to get
Yep.
to where you got. Like
For sure.
there's some tough moments, but there's some beautiful moments in that as well.
Yeah.
Not to be cliche and like
No, I
all,
agree. But no, then
but
and you talk about that redshirt sophomore year losing in the semis to Bo Hintz, who I had beat the year
yeah,
previously
yep,
in the finals. Just made
yeah,
some mistakes there on bottom and got turned. Rode out and just didn't work out my way. But coming back, wrestling, taking third. That was the first time probably I think I didn't win a state title in the state of Nebraska until seventh grade. Went on a tear, seventh, eighth, all through high school. The end, my last match every year from seventh through, up until that moment had been
yeah,
coming out on top, winning a state title, middle school, high school, you know, in college. I'd
yeah,
been able to have,
true.
and then that was one of the hardest, moments. Like, all right, I don't get to come out with gold, so it's like coming back, getting bronze, taking third. There's a lot to be proud about, and like the fight, you see it all the time. You see that semi slide, guys get beat, they go 0-2 in those next two matches after losing in the semis. So I definitely was pretty proud to battle back, and then just again, just fourth, not quite able to get back and win the last match of the year, but being able to come back and not just lay your head down and give up. That's huge. It's a big part of the sport. So I agree. It's like those are big life lessons too, and just being able to fight and overcome adversity when things don't go your way
Yeah,
and you don't get the results you want, and that happens a lot of times in life. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to handle that? Um, are you going to show that you're resilient? Or are you going to you're going to break? So those losses can demonstrate a lot about someone's character and what they stand for in life.
yeah, especially like when you lose in the semis. So you did that twice, and you jump back to the
Yep.
consi semis. You're
That's a
wrestling
rough day.
another, yeah, you're wrestling another tough SOB.
Yeah, like
You know,
45 minutes later. That's such a hard transition. Like people
wow,
don't understand
45
how
minutes later.
like it's like Division One's, their levels whole different thing. And I think the D3 tournament's the same way as the Division II tournament, but you wrestle that morning on Saturday in the semis.
Yeah.
It's a 2-day tournament,
Which
round,
is
quarters.
crazy.
Yep. It's tough wrestling. You're beat up. Guys are putting in, 6, 7 matches in the tournament. If they're wrestling for the seventh place match, but you wrestle first things 9 o'clock or whatever it is. You win, you get a break, and you come back later that evening. You go to the hotel, you can sleep. It's awesome. You lose, your dreams have been crushed. You're, you know, you gotta slap yourself in the face and say, okay, like this, we got a team title that we're competing for.
Mm-hmm.
I got a band of brothers that I gotta, step up for and continue to fight for, continue to represent this program, this university, and the coaches that have instilled all their time and energy into developing me into the wrestler that I am right now. Like, there's a lot of people that you're trying to represent outside of yourself, and that's not but like having that why can be really helpful. And you got 45 minutes to get your head back on your shoulders and get some food in your body, and then step on that mat against somebody that has been fighting their way back into the tournament, that knew last night they weren't going to be competing for a national title. They're hungry, they're ready to go, and they want a piece of you. And you have to be ready to it's like they're ready, when you're on the backside of the tournament and you're grinding out matches and you're winning on the backside of the tournament, you're gaining confidence. These guys are falling from the top side. They are in a much more difficult mental position than you are. When you just came off a win, you're building momentum. Now you got a guy that just lost. His dreams of being a national champ are crushed. Like, it's hard to compete. It's hard to battle after that semifinal loss. And so I'm not I was fortunate enough to come on the top of that twice, but it's not a place you want to be in. But you got to get gritty, and you got to find a way to compete and get it done. So that's a hard position to wrestle right after that. Your dreams are crushed for the season, and you got 45 minutes, if that, to figure out, all right, what's our next step? And then you got another 45 minutes, if that, to wrestle in your medal match. So that last day goes quick. It's just bang, bang, bang. D1, you lose semifinals in the evening. You got a night to sleep on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the morning, maybe have a little bit more, clear reflection on what happened. And then I hear guys talk about all the time at the Division I level, like, their favorite round in that D1 tournament is that morning session with the medal rounds. You got all these phenomenal wrestlers that are finally just, their goals weren't met of being Division I national champs, but they're going out there and they're letting it fly. They're wrestling free. They're competing, and it's some of the best, most pure wrestling you're going to see in the sport, just because they had that night's sleep to realize, I'm not going to be a champ, but I can go out and try to finish on top. So yeah, it's different, but it still hurts.
Yeah, and there's a lot of respect there that goes on.
Yeah.
That because now you're an All-American. So obviously you want to get the next best thing, but when you're competing with the type of level that you are, and Division II, there's good wrestling everywhere.
Absolutely.
But, you're high-fiving each other at the end. You're like, hey, it's a pleasure to do battle with you.
Exactly.
Pleasure to share the mat with you, basically.
Yeah.
My favorite round's the dog bone. But the next best one I would say is that medal round, is when you really, like you said, the weight is off. Like, all right, I'm an All-American. Bare minimum, I'm an All-American. Yeah. And then, you said, you just kind of see them. It's kind of fun.
Open up. It's fun to watch these elite wrestlers open up in, all these collegiate matches. And I agree. The dog bone matches are phenomenal. Obviously, guys get a chance to wrestle for national title, and then get a say you're an All-American. The emotions in that round, you can't beat it. It's the best round in college sports. It's awesome.
Yeah. That was a good point that you brought up, that your redshirt sophomore year was the first time since 7th grade that you weren't wrestling for a title.
Yeah.
And how that had to be just, devastating. And then, like you said, 45 minutes later, you're wrestling again against somebody in the Conci semis who's been winning and gaining confidence, and it's another tough son of a gun.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the heck am I doing? What's going on right now?
It's like strap up the singlet, right? Let's step on the mat, let's go. It's like what are we like you said, what are we doing? You don't have time to cry, you don't have time to let your emotions get a hold of you. You got to strap them up, and you got to step back on that mat and step on toe the line and get after it. Then that last match hits, you can let the emotions out if that's, where your heart's at. And unfortunately, like that's where I was every year. Just like after it just, let the emotions out, just wasn't quite where you wanted to be, but you
Yeah.
still got to compete. And then after that's done, then you can, hug your family, hug your parents,
Yeah.
hug your significant others. But yeah, you don't got time to reflect on that until the matches are over.
Yeah. What I want to ask you, I mentioned this earlier, what is the NCAA postgraduate scholarship? Because you earned one,
Yep.
and it's like 16 are handed out in a
Yep.
year or something like that. Like this is a very prestigious thing to have
Yeah.
earned. I mean, what is it? How'd you get it? Like all the things.
So, it goes to apply for it, you have to be going into some form of graduate education. So for me, I was pursuing my doctorate in physical therapy at the University of Iowa after my time at St. Cloud. And so you have to be going towards some extra degree, master's, PhD, you name it. So it could be probably another doctorate, whatever it is, some sort of
Yeah.
graduate education. You have to be in the top of your academic standings in that respective field, or just like in the top of the academic standings in your sport. And so outside of like we talked about competing earlier with academically, outside of my like red shirt or my freshman year in college, I think competing and getting like a 4.0 like the next like 6 or 7 semesters. I lot you talk about, I got a lot, like some people won't like it, but I got a lot of respect for like Josh Portillo, and just like we had some great battles. And
Mm-hmm.
um that he took a couple matches from me. He
Mm-hmm.
took the Elite 90 award a couple times. So
Really?
so I had like, I think it goes to the top academic wrestler in the arena. So whoever had the highest GPA wrestling in the national tournament. And so if it wasn't for my freshman year, going pre-med and getting that, I would have been at least a little bit closer in contention. So I think I finished somewhere with like a 3.9 or 3.91 or something. And Josh had like he's like up there 3.97, 3.98 in his
Jeez.
his education. So yeah, we battled in a lot of different ways, which is awesome. Like he's a good competitor. He's doing good things for himself as well. Him and his brother, they're some cool dudes with just what they're doing for the sport. But yeah, top good education, high GPA, and then I don't know if there's any like involvement with other activities or like volunteer stuff with it. But it worked out. They give it out to about 16 recipients every season. So I think there's 16 recipients. It might be even every academic year, but fall sport, winter sport, there's I think either 16 boys and 16 men, 16 women that get it, or 8 men. I think it's 16 men, 16 women get it. And so it's a good chunk of money just to help towards your graduate stuff. Don't I got plenty of I'm still paying Iowa. They're still
Right.
but it's a pretty cool scholarship to just help towards your postgraduate education. And so yeah, I was pretty blessed to be able to have that
Heck yeah.
award, and it's helped out with some some bills and some books. So it was good.
Yeah, that's awesome because that is a very high honor to have achieved.
Yeah.
And I like what you said earlier about like you weren't the smartest kid per se,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you put in the time. I mean,
Yeah.
you were telling me what you were doing. You were tutoring, and you became a tutor, and I'm like, holy cow, man! I mean, there's only 24 hours in the day, and
Yeah.
12 of them have to be for sleep, right? At least for me,
Yeah.
12 of them have to be for sleep. But I mean,
Yeah.
you were probably
Yeah.
sleeping 4 hours a night. I don't know.
No, we didn't get a lot. We didn't get a lot. No, my time in high school, I feel like I'm finally slowing down a little bit, just a little bit. I'm trying to
Really,
ramp it up. Yeah, a little bit.
with a
I
kid?
gotta, I gotta spend time. It's that time with my wife and our daughter, and that's precious, and that's time that time goes slow. So, but
Okay.
like, high school, college was in everything from musicals to student council, and college helping. Like we had a phenomenal mentor at St. Cloud, John Peterson, Olympic gold and silver medalist. He'd come in every Thursday and he would lead our Athletes in Action Bible studies. So I started running our wrestling team's Bible study when my junior and senior season up there in St. Cloud. So just try to be. I love being busy, and I think distance helped that. I think if Nicole was up in St. Cloud with me, I wouldn't have had the time to do that. But thankfully, it all worked out, and I was able to invest in the other guys in our team, and we were able to invest in each other in that standpoint in our lives. But we were involved in a lot of different things. Student athlete advisory committee at St. Cloud. If there was something we could do to try to help grow and have a positive impact on the school and on the community, we were trying to do something in that regard. And a lot of that too is just trying to help, high schools helping build a resume to get into a good college.
Yeah.
Undergrad, it was building a good resume to get into a good physical therapy program. And now just what I'm doing, just trying to build a good resume and just, build good relations to take care of patients appropriately, coach appropriately, be the best dad, husband and father that I can be, and just be the best man that I can be, and be a good role model for people that I'm interacting with and kids that I get to work with each and every day.
Yeah, I apologize that it's been, gosh, an hour and 20 minutes into this, and I just want to start asking you real quick about Bennington. Are you from Bennington?
Grew up in Grand Island, Nebraska. So,
okay, I wondered because you said something about that, about the guy that wrestled earlier. Yeah. So you grew up in Grand Island.
Yeah, grew up in Grand Island. I was born in Omaha. Dad got a job in Hastings, so just outside of Grand Island. We lived there for about 9 years. I think, about 9-10 years. So really good connections out there.
Yeah.
I think we've been blessed, my brother and I, to be around probably the best coaches we could possibly be in our whole career. You look at the string of coaches. Coach Reedy was one of the head coaches. Coach Rojas. We had a lot of phenomenal coaches at Team GI. You go back to that timeline and you look at the guys that came out of there. Andrew Reedy was a 4-time state champ for Nebraska. Blake Fruchtel, Trey Trujillo, Chase Reese. Like, we had phenomenal wrestlers in that Team GI wrestling room. My dad got a new job. We moved to Bennington. Our family was furious. We didn't want to leave. We had all these good relationships.
Yeah.
We got grounded for the whole first summer because we complained about moving to Bennington, let alone, and then come to find we get put in one of the best high school rooms we could find in Nebraska. Alan Picorni, he just got inducted into the National Coaches Hall of Fame this last year. Like, he's one of the best to ever do it in the state of Nebraska. Been super blessed to be around that. His son, Andy Picorni, was a big reason why I went to St. Cloud. I looked up to him as a role model and all he was doing at St. Cloud. The years prior to me going there, he was a 2-time national runner-up. Seeing his success and following him and having him come into the wrestling room in the winter and beat up on me when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then Coach Costanzo calling him, and that's how we got connected over a summer camp that our team did. But and then being blessed to go on to another phenomenal college or phenomenal school where Coach Costanzo and all the success that he has. It's been, legendary head coach after head coach. Just Alan Picorni, transformed my wrestling and just my love for the sport. And same thing with Coach Costanzo and Coach Wilson and all the grad assistants and everybody, all the coaches along the way. But yeah, Bennington was definitely a blessing to fall upon. We almost ended up in Gretna, which would have been great too. But yeah, Bennington was a phenomenal place to end up. Great coaches, great history. The stuff that Alan's been able to do and just his teams and his coaching staffs have been able to do has been really fun to watch and to follow, even since leaving and getting him back in the room and wrestling with the Luridson brothers. Alan's he's the only Nebraska coach to have those two are the first two brothers to win 4 state titles in Nebraska, and to be able to wrestle and had wrestled with both of those guys and just trained a little bit with them is an honor. And it was a lot of fun to work with those two and just all the guys that I've gone back in the room and trained with at Bennington. So Bennington's always been home. My dad, I should say my dad helps coach the youth club.
Nice.
Volunteers his time to do that every winter.
Good for him. That's awesome.
he loves it. And like, so yeah, I, I'm grateful for all that he did. He coached me, my whole life. And, but yeah, he still gives back even after having 2 knee replacements. So he's still grinding. He's still
Yeah.
grinding.
Yeah, Grand Island. Blake Cushing is there right now at
Yeah.
Nebraska, and he was at Grand
Yeah.
Island.
Yeah.
And you hear great things about him. Like
Yeah.
he's not getting the starts. Okay, like there's
No.
a log jam there. There's some good tough kids around his way, but you hear the stories about him. Like he's one of the toughest workers in that room. So
Yeah.
shout out to him. But
Yeah.
yeah, you end up at Bennington, and so the Lordson brothers. Which
Yep.
one is tougher to take down? Kale or
That's a
Kyler?
great question. So they're both studs. Kale's obviously lighter. Kyler, I didn't get to wrestle Kyler his senior year. I think if I wrestled Kyler his senior year, that dude
Really?
was
Why not?
that's when I was starting to transition to wrestling with the best wrestler more. And so
Okay.
just time wise, work wise, um, didn't get to do a lot of wrestling with him. I got to wrestle the year prior to that. I was an assistant coach in Bennington, like a volunteer coach, still trying to
Nice.
figure
Yeah.
out what I was going to do in the Omaha area. And I still chat with Coach McCorney and the crew and try to get in every now and then. Like my goal, I hope I can get back in the room a little bit. They're not banishing me for
Going Island.
doing the youth stuff, but
Yeah.
no, I think he's tough. He's big. He's tough to move, tough to get on. Kale is so smooth though. Like that I think I'm dodging the question, but Kale, he's so smooth. Like his hand fighting's phenomenal. Kyler, he's tough. He's got some really good heavy hands.
Yeah.
He's hard to move. I got the better end of him right after football his junior year, and then I don't think we wrestled later on in the year. Just didn't want to, I let him and Braxton Peacher, and I let them
Yeah.
wrestle, do their thing. I was fortunate to get the better end of him right after football season, but if I would have got him towards the end of the year, like we would have been having a dogfight in the room. So I think just with his size, Kyler's a little
Right.
bit, but Kale's so crisp and he's got such good technique, and he's going to be a lot of fun to watch these next few years
Yeah.
in Lincoln. He's a dog. So
Yeah.
they're phenomenal brothers. I'm excited to see what Kyler does at UNK. Who knows? The way that wrestling program is, I could easily see Dalton inviting him in the room, say, hey, throw on some shoes. You don't have to commit to anything. Just see how it feels. Kyler gets, scraped up a little bit, says, I don't like that. And I could see him walking on and trying to dual sport or something. He probably doesn't want to, but he's a competitor, and I could see
Right.
Carney trying to find a way to pull a 4-time state champ and said like himself into the room. But right now he's playing football. He's a safety at Kearney, so we'll see what Kyler does.
Yeah. And I agree. If there's anyone that's going to be able to do it, it's going to be Dalton Jensen and like Andrew
Yeah.
Sorensen. Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, just look at what they did with Nick James this past year. How they kind of just,
Absolutely.
Nick
They're gonna be
wanted to do
trying.
it too, but yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be trying, and he's a competitor. I could easily see him, and I could see him doing very well at the collegiate level too. So if that's what he wants to do, I could see him doing it.
Yeah. And how did you end up at St. Cloud State? I mean, I know that
Yeah.
it sounds like a pretty simple answer.
Yeah.
You had the Picorni, Allen, Andy
Mhm.
was at St. Cloud State.
Yeah.
Costanzo's from Bennington, easy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
UNK is just down the road
Yeah.
too, a couple hours.
Yeah. No, I mean, as far as recruiting goes,
And others
I
like Augustana, like
Yeah.
there were other schools that
Yep.
could have been in the mix. I don't know.
No,
But
absolutely. No, the main schools in the mix from like a recruiting standpoint, Augustana reached out to me. I had conversations with Coach Denny at Maryville,
yeah.
St.
Ooh.
Cloud, and Lincoln at UNL. So Mark Manning crew, Coach Denny, the Augustana staff. I know they're a phenomenal crew out there, and they're doing good things. And then St. Cloud, Lincoln. At the hindsight's 2020, I think Lincoln, they asked me to walk on, and after winning 3 titles in high school and beating some high level guys that they were trying to recruit from the state of Nebraska, I don't know, they wanted me to walk on, to help distribute funds. And when I look back on it, and also I think my parents told me that the scholarship that I would have earned academically would have either covered my tuition in full at Lincoln, or it would have been pretty close. So I don't think they were too worried about my financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I just wanted to feel like, at the time you just want to feel wanted, you want to be offered
Yeah,
something.
for
And
sure.
I didn't realize like academically I was in that position to not have to worry about it financially. That might have changed my thoughts a little bit there. Maryville, Coach Denny reached out after seeing me wrestle. I only wrestled like 2 summers, honestly, growing up. I played all the sports. I played football. I played soccer for a year in like 12U. I played baseball my whole life though. So like summers, I loved baseball. Was a 4 year like in high school.
All
Started
state
all
honorable mention. I
I'll
was going to
yeah.
ask you about that.
I mean, I
But
love baseball. Like it was a
yeah.
lot of fun for me. Like I was competitive on the ball field. I asked Coach Costanzo after getting accepted to go to St. Cloud if I could play baseball my summer prior to going to St. Cloud, just because I wanted to play one more summer
Yeah.
ball with the boys because I missed it from my freshman year. I spent my sophomore junior year doing summer wrestling, which I'd never done freestyle, never done Greco. Went did Fargo for 1 year just to help try to get college attention, um and so I didn't have a big recruiting profile, didn't have a lot of national tournaments under my belt. Carney never reached out, and in big part because I didn't do any summer wrestling. I think partially they had a phenomenal 25 pounder at the time, Connor Bowling. He's one of the best to have wrestled in the state of Nebraska. I think he's coaching at St. Paul right now in Nebraska. I might be wrong on that, but he I remember watching him wrestle Gilman to a super close match, and then 2 3 years later, we're in the same bracket in the 2016 season when I'm looking to make my run. So that's, in the back of your mind, like, oh, one of Nebraska's greatest is like also in here. So like we haven't wrestled yet, but it might happen. And so I don't think they were looking for a 25 pounder at the time. They had Connor, they had a good 25 pounder. They had some depth there. So I don't think Coach Mark Bauer was looking for anybody at that time. And so it really came down to Maryville, Coach Denny, and just like his coaching
Mhm.
legacy. Was he going to still be around when I was there? Because he's getting to the end of his coaching career. It just, he's getting older. It seemed like he might not be there all 4 or 5 years. They all, from an academic standpoint, I could finish my physical therapy education at Maryville in a 6.5 year program versus going 5 years at St. Cloud and then another
Wow.
3. So there's an opportunity if I went to Maryville from like an educational standpoint
Mhm.
that I could have finished my degree sooner. There's also part of me that said, I don't know if I want to do PT completely. I want a backup plan. So that's why I went pre-med at St. Cloud. But Coach Costanzo, ultimately the biggest turning factor, because Costanzo and Coach Denny, they're so much alike. They're so personable, so easy to get along with. Their coaching styles are intentional. I think that's the best, like very intentional. They're not in your face, aggressive, loud, only when they need to be.
Mhm.
And he came home to visit family and came in Nebraska while he was in town, while he's close. He said, Brett, do you and your family want to go get food? So we went out to um, Manja's in Omaha and had some phenomenal Italian food, sat down, chatted, and just that little extra effort outside of just, phone calls and text and just that home visit essentially. And just made me feel comfortable and like felt like St. Cloud was going to be the right home. And so that was just a little tip of the iceberg that got me to shipped over to St. Cloud, because between him and Coach Denny, it was, a super hard decision. Calling Coach Denny on the phone, calling Coach Manning wasn't as hard just because, it just didn't feel like we were as highly sought after at the time, but calling Coach
Right.
Denny was a tough one. So got that one done and then called Coach Costanzo and told him the good news. And, the rest is history. We were able to, really solidify an awesome dynasty and develop a band of brothers that, a lot of guys in the grades above us called it this black and red edge. This just silent confidence when you step on that mat with that husky singlet on, you already got a little bit of an edge over your opponents. And I think the guys are continuing to do awesome up there and continuing to model that confidence and
Yeah.
and just the skills that Coach Costanzo, Coach Wilson, and all the other guys are instilling in those boys up north in Minnesota. Up in Minnesota.
I was gonna say in Minnesota.
Yeah, don't you know?
Yeah, so Coach Costanzo was visiting family and just
Yeah,
happened to be in the area. Okay,
yeah,
I see you.
yeah.
Whatever, dude. He knew what he was doing.
He did. He's a smart man. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a second father up there. I got to watch his house when they were going on vacation after my senior year.
Really?
Throw some. They got a wood burning
Parties?
furnace.
Oh,
What? No, no
nothing?
parties, no parties. His kids were home and just house sitting. I got to
Yeah.
wake up every day, throw some wood in the furnace for him, feed his cows. Yeah, it was pretty cool. He's got like he loves that lifestyle, and I loved it too. It was fun. It was fun,
Yeah.
kind of stepping away and doing a little glimpse of country living there, waking up, getting your chores done, and then going to class and doing all that stuff. It was fun.
Yeah, before I let you go, I have a couple lighthearted
Yeah,
questions for you.
yeah,
So I saw you were a four-time state champ, obviously
yep,
four-time, but you were only a three-time district champ.
yep.
What's the deal? You have more
Lost,
state titles than district titles.
yeah, lost in the district championships to JT Slowboth, guy that I got to wrestle
Wow.
in the state finals match later that year. This dude is strong as an ox. He was at 113. He was bench. Rumor was, I don't know. You can ask JT. He was benching 230 at 113. Guy just was massive. He got his hands on you. Your neck was sore. He wore you out. But we wrestled a couple times. That was the one time he got me. State finals match. I was pissed. I went out there and
What year was
rest,
this?
this was sophomore year. So
Wow.
sophomore year.
And where was he from?
Omaha Scott Catholic. So,
Scott.
there's a little extra love. That was my one loss to a Scott Catholic gentleman, but they got a
Uh,
phenomenal program. But
yeah,
got him back when it mattered in the state finals. I was up 5-0. I didn't want to give him a single point. I was so mad about that district match. And this dude locks up he locks up a cradle and in the last like minute of the match, and we're just teeter-tottering like 90 to
Wow.
45, 90, 45. I'm holding on to his leg, just making sure I don't expose myself too much. Give up 5 points. We go to overtime. So I was up
No
5-0.
way.
Basically 5-point movie, locks cradle, back and forth, getting 2 counts, getting 3 counts, finally got a 5 count. So he got all his points. And then overtime, shake my head, like couldn't believe I just almost got pinned when I was up 5-0. I could have cut him and got a takedown and it would have been over. And then overtime, I think I hit like a high crotch and put him on his hip, got the takedown. I remember giving like a Tiger Woods like fist pump like to the
Yeah.
crowd. Like I was jacked, but I was so mad. I was up. I just didn't want to give him I didn't want to give him any points in that finals match and almost cost me. So yeah, I got it back, but yeah, that one's annoying. Just losing that
Ooh.
district finals match. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
There like, you talk about health and stuff, like there's stuff but no, he got me. He got me on that district finals, and I was grateful enough to have the opportunity. Before that match, I was warming up in the locker room and sprained my ankle right before my finals match my sophomore year. So
Doing what?
we were just drilling. We didn't have the mats weren't open, and I had to get and in the back they were full. People were warming up. I sprained my ankle in the locker room on like the carpet. Alan taped it up real quick. I think I popped like a couple ibuprofen and just said like, let's just go. And so that sucker was taped up
No
like a
way.
brick. Yeah. So, and earlier in the year, I'd wrestled him earlier in the year with a sprained ankle as well, because I sprained it at the Boys Town Open in like the semis. Thought I broke my ankle. Went to the hospital. They said, you're fine. Just don't wrestle. And I'm like, all right, can I? And I had coach tape it up like a brick and wrestled the tournament finals against JT. So, yeah.
Wow. So you hold up. So you left mid tournament, got checked
Yeah.
out, went
So,
back and wrestled.
yeah, weighed in Saturday morning because it happened Friday night. Went to the hospital. We had till like noon to decide. Like that was when the finals were going to happen. And they're like, it's not broken. I tried to warm up on it that morning. I couldn't put any weight on it, couldn't shoot. So I'm like, and coach is like, you don't have to wrestle this. And I was pissed because the year before I lost that tournament. And this is this huge tournament that at the time, a lot of really good wrestlers. And I wanted to win this tournament really bad. And so I said, can you just tape it so I can't move my ankle? And coach is like, yeah, I'll do that. So we taped it up real good, put it up in this brace that kind of locked it up in place. And so didn't have much of a foot to push off of. But sometimes you just gotta. I think just mentally too, just knowing. I think that helped too. That state finals match because I re-rolled it, re-sprained it. Like, okay, we did this once already, and we're not gonna walk out of this one. So we were okay with what happened in the locker room. We just kind of shrugged that off and got out on the mat. But yeah, JT got me. He got me sophomore year. One of the few guys I lost to in Nebraska.
Yeah. Last thing I have for you here is you finished your high school career with 99 career falls.
Yeah.
Does that ever like rile you up or piss you off that you were like one short of 100?
When I saw the plaque for it, yeah, that I was at 99 falls. I think like the USA Wrestling has All-American or whatever, and I think I got like academic All-American for like USA Wrestling in that 2014 season. And the plaque says like 171 and 4, 99 falls, whatever. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, come on. And like, I mean, in high school, 99 falls, relatively decent pinner, cradled a lot of guys up. There's a lot of times where there's a close call, but I don't sweat it too much. But yeah. When I saw it, I'm like, come on, one more, you gotta be kidding me. And there was a couple years we were chasing pin records. We got really close to beating the school pin record. So yeah, it was a little annoying, but it's all good.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Special thanks to my guest, Dr. Brett Velasquez, for taking the time to sit down and chat with me. Cover art created and designed by Kristen Gill. Please feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. And you can also check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and my Facebook page to hear more of my content. And don't forget to check out my website at letstalkwrestlingpodcast.my.canva.site. And as always, be sure to tune in to hear the next guest of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Take care, and we'll see you next time.